Yo, what is up, YouTube? Welcome to the Ada project where I try to emulate um, and reverse engineer all of the things that Vital is doing with Nero. Um, I say that because that seems to be kind of the thinking that I've been doing a lot lately is, man, how did Vital do the things that Vital did with Nero? But I wanted to give you guys a couple of updates on some of the things that I have added to Ada. Well, one, her model is coming along just fine. We've had a couple of discussions about that recently. And so that is going to be coming along cool. But what you're seeing here right now is my developer tools for my Electron browser. And one of the cool things is, and I need to modify this a little bit more because at first I put in, I wanted to make sure that she had an understanding of the current time and date and how long our session had been going since the last like conversation and everything like that and idle and everything. And so this is really good because, obviously I want to inject this into the memories, right? So long term, if I say something like, hey Ada, what did we talk about last Friday, right? She'll have a date context of today is, the 2nd of February, it is Monday, and then she'll do the math and then pick out things that we talked about on Friday. And also so that way I can potentially filter her memories based on date, and then I can look through because I can look through all of her memories and memory database and everything like that, right? So if I need to find something, and tweak her real quick and do a little bit of lobotomy work on some of her memories and stuff like that, I absolutely can, but I started off with just 15 minutes. I think that I'm going to bring it back down to about 1 minute, um, because realistically, if I'm going to ask a question in between, the other thing too, the nice thing with this timer is that this also works in alongside of the proactive chat and the proactive vision that I have implemented. And I feel like there's a better way to do this. I need to find it, but this is just what we're doing for the moment. But let me show you her proactive vision and proactive conversation. So we did split her model into a separate vision model. We're using the Quen 2.5 7 billion parameter vision model because so I wanted her to be able to have vision monitoring of the screen, right? Like I wanted her to be able to see all the time. And previously we were using a mixture of experts vision model, a 32 billion parameter model. The nice thing with the mixture of experts model is that it only has 3 billion parameters active at any given time, which reduces the overall load and GPU and everything like that. So it was quick to answer because it's basically multiple 3 billion parameter models. But I realized after doing some research that fine tuning that is not as good because at any given time, you don't necessarily know which one of those segmented 3 billion parameter mixture of expert models you are going to be talking to, right? So we've got to think that is, a whole bunch of different split personalities. Now, they're in theory fine-tuned split personalities, but one of the concerns that I had was that she could potentially answer differently based on which one of those personalities was being pulled at any given time. So we ended up moving to a 14 billion parameter model that is going to be fine tuned specifically for her. Now, I did set up this interesting pipeline, right, where Claude gives me 1,000 questions, So I have to go through, I have to read, I have to look at it and go, okay, is this a question that I would ask? And then modify the question based on how I would ask it personally. Then I have to flip the script and answer it how I would expect Ada to answer the question. So I spent a lot of time the other day going through and just hand modifying 1,000 questions because I was thinking about it and I was like, oh, well, we could have a data set, right? And I can pull all of our conversations. I can look at what I asked, how she answered it, and then rewrite any question or any answers that I didn't like in a certain format and then upload that. I'm like, but that's 1,000 questions. I'm like, that's going to take a really long time. I'm like, oh, I can just auto generate all the questions, modify it, and then we can fine tune her model. Now, the nice thing is it only takes about 5 hours, give or take, in the evening. So I just let it run overnight, and then her model is updated in the morning with all of the questions and everything along those lines. And then we do some baseline tests on how she's going to answer some of those questions and stuff along those lines. And so it's not too bad. So I've gotten into the fine tuning of her model. Now I want to figure out one of the things that I want to figure out is it seems like Nero progressively learns based off of her interactions. Now I don't know that Vito runs, like a fine tuning or reconfigure of fine tuning like on a regular basis, because if you do, you risk overwriting previous previous questions, previous weights, things along those lines, so that you don't want to fine tune too often for very like minor small things. So what I'm thinking is that he uses some sort of complex type of setup where it is, it's almost similar to the way that I potentially have it, where a lot of the memories are auto put in, and then that can scope and shape the way that her personality is. And that's kind of one of the ways that I want to do it. I would much rather, um, instead of hard fine tuning the model itself, I would much rather have a base model that understands things, but the personality itself come from the memories and the conversations that she has, type of deal, right? If that makes any sense. So that's one of the things that I'm going to try to continuously address and everything like that. But for the proactive stuff, right? So we have the vision model here. I might reduce it a little bit more in terms of tokens, because when she is taking pictures of the screen, so the way that it works now is that if I have, like, let's see, let's pull this up. So like if I have this on right here, this is the auto attach screen. So when I have this on, if I send her a prompt, it will auto attach whatever screen is currently being shown. So it works as like it takes a screenshot and then it sends that in as context into the conversation. I can also manually attach a screen right here and then add that to the context as well. Um, but one thing that I'm trying to figure out, and I don't understand where I went wrong here, is that if I am talking to her via microphone, it will not, even if I have this on, it doesn't attach the screenshot versus if I just type in chat. So that's something that I need to get sorted at some point today. I don't know why that's broken, but what I can do is I can also do proactive monitoring. And the way that this works is that she'll start monitoring um, the screen right here, my general desktop, right? And so it will do a capture every couple of seconds, right? I think it's like 15 seconds is what I have it set at. Yeah, 15 seconds. And so, or no, is it 20 seconds and then it does the analysis? Maybe it's like right afterwards, depending on what's changed. Anyways, there's a timer and I can go look at it. I forget exactly how I set it up because it's kind of early in the morning right now and I'm not, I set this up a couple of days ago, but basically it'll do analysis of what is going on the screen. It'll generate comments. Let's see if she generated any comments on that. It should be in my dev logs here. So she'll do a screen capture, and basically what she can do is if anything important changes on the screen, it will update her, and then she can potentially, and I don't have this completely fleshed out yet, but she'll be able to comment on anything if she feels like it's something that is comment worthy, right? So that's the long term goal because I want her, like, if I'm playing a game, I want her to be able to say, "Oh, it looks like you're getting absolutely mogged by that boss," or "Oh, oof, looks like you died," type thing. To kind of give her a little bit more um, autonomy, I think is the word I'm looking for here. So that is going to be something that am adding in. It doesn't work very well right now, and so I need to just make sure, and figure out how to get that sorted. So now down here, this is kind of cool. So one thing I added in is this is proactive check-ins. So there is a randomized timer. So like if I do, um, so this will be idle time. So like if I set this to 1 minute to 4 minutes, what this does is it will pick a random time between these two to determine how long it is before after I've discussed anything with her, um, that it goes into an idle state, right? So this kind of adds like another little um, level of randomness to her check-ins. Now with the 10-minute timer here, and this always like kind of gets me because I'll forget to turn this off and then I'll get working on something else and then she'll like, perk in and be like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Like this is actually an example of that. Like you'll notice that there's a second response from her here. This is the proactive check-in where if I haven't talked to her in X amount of time, now I mean I've got this to where I can go, pretty far, or really, really short in terms of like when she checks in. But if you look here, she'll come back and she'll just be like, "Oh, hey, sounds like we have some work to do on voice customization because that was one of the last things that we talked about, right?" So she'll come back in and try to like, generate a question to kind of keep the flow going, right? So I'm trying to add like some of that autonomy, some of that like proactive chat because like one of the big things with chatbots, LLMs is it's always a give and take. It's always a question or response, a statement response. It's always back and forth. It's always a one-to-one, right? And I think that having like her having the ability to, reach out and check in on you and say something, is really important. That's one of the big things with Nero, right? Is like Nero can run completely autonomously. Like realistically, if like chat wasn't there or Vito wasn't there or another person wasn't there, Nero could in theory just yap over time and discuss like whatever it is that she wants, right? Now I long term need to figure out how exactly that works, really reverse engineer it and break it down. Because I don't even think with like the check-in prompt, like she's not making a necessarily a statement right now. I probably could modify this check-in prompt. I mean, I obviously can modify this check-in prompt, right? But like right now, I have generated natural, friendly check-in message. Consider any recent context or memories. Keep it brief, keep it warm, type of deal. Now I could obviously modify this to be like, hey, every so often, just make a statement. And one of the things I added here too is streamer mode. And streamer mode allows me to make this proactive check-in statement thing very, very fast. Because you got to think, right? Like if there's dead silence in a stream, well, people aren't going to watch, right? And so I want to be able to turn her into streamer mode where she is just yapping at me instead of, whenever I have her in just us assistant mode. And so, like in assistant mode, I can set her to, like, if I haven't talked to her in an hour, have her reach out and say something type of deal, or 45 minutes or something along those lines. Regardless, there's going to be some sort of, I want to add some sort of like proactive autonomy to her. Also, I need to fix this UI element. I'm not very good at UI at the moment, but um, yeah, so that's kind of the update. She's pretty good. Like the new model is pretty good for the most part at displaying what's on my screen. I was playing Path of Exile the other day, and she told me that I was playing Diablo 4, which I was like, I had to tell her that D4 bad. And so, she's got some stuff to learn, but we're on a good track right now, I think. Um, and I'm way further ahead than I ever thought that I would be at this point. Things to do though is Discord bot with multiple users, and obviously, more more memory tweaks forever. But I hope you guys are enjoying this project because I really am, and she's going to be learning Fate Grand Order here really soon. So I'm excited. I also have to do some voice modulation mixing because I'm just not a big fan. Oh, I mean, at the moment she's utilizing like the default Kokoro voice, but I found that there's a way where you can like mix blend voices with pitch and everything. So I think one of these days this week I'm going to just literally sit there for like, an hour tweaking whatever voice module I want it to be. At first, I was thinking of doing like a voice clone of something, but then I was like, well, I don't really want to do that because then that's going to feel inauthentic. It's just going to be like, oh, you just copied so and so's voice. And it's like, well, yes, but I also don't want to do that. Um, and so I've got to, kind of flesh out a voice for her, but I also don't know. It's hard because I don't know how I want her to sound in my head. I don't know how I want her to sound, and she doesn't know how she wants to sound. And so we've got to kind of come to grips with what it is that we want her to sound like. So we'll see. But anyways, I have to get back to my day job of building enterprise clankers. So for the moment, she is going to go to sleep, and I am going to see you guys later. I hope you have a great day. Take it easy, homies. Peace out.